hello world. Good morning, Pilipinas. Welcome to our The Teacher Voice. This is just an hour show that aims to give teachers the opportunity to talk on air about their unforgettable journey, their thrilling adventures, to share their splendid wisdom, to inspire and give hope to our listeners and viewers. This show airs by the Philippine Las Vegas radio station, located in the heart of Las Vegas, every Saturday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And in the Philippines, it's Sunday, 9 in the morning. I have here with me my co-hosts, Tita Pasit Ross from New York, and
Hello.
Tita Josie from Las Vegas.
Hello.
So we are here, both states, in New York and
Nevada.
Las Vegas. Right.
Yeah.
So this time we have some rules in here that we want to read to you guys, and we will have to introduce our speaker today.
Okay, we are very happy tonight to give you our presenter, facilitator, Mr. Marvin Cadornigara. Actually, Dr. Marvin Cadornigara. He's going to speak to us about embracing the challenges of remote learning with the 21st century learning design. Now, let me talk to you about him. He was born and raised in Iloilo City, so he considers himself a true blue Ilonggo. He taught biology and science research in 3 high schools in the Philippines for 16 years before he joined the New York City Public Schools in 2004. He taught in New York City for the past 17 years, and at the moment, he's teaching portfolio-based living environment to ENL, or English as New Language, students at Bronx International High School. He is a certified Apple teacher, a certified Level 1 Google educator, a Microsoft Innovative Educator, an EdPuzzle certified educator, and holds a Design Thinking Educator micro-credential. He was inducted into the Academy of Teachers in 2016 and won several awards for his technological and innovative practices as a teacher, to wit: the first Excellence in School Technology Award from the New York City Department of Education in 2014, the Blackboard Award from the Manhattan Media and Family Magazine in 2015, the Margaret Ashida STEM Leadership Award from the New York State STEM Education Collaborative in 2016, the Lee H. Bryant Outstanding Teacher Award from the New York State Association for Computers and Technologies in Education in 2017, and most recently, in May 2021, he received the Diversity in Tech Awards from Mouse Create. I wonder what's next for him. And fellow educators, I'm very proud and happy to present a friend of Teacher Voice, Dr. Marvin Cadornigara. Welcome, Marvin.
Wow. Sir Marvin, before you continue, we are almost more than, it's 100 now. We have Cebu from CP Nazarene College. In Iloilo, we have the Iloilo City National High School, and also the Central Philippine University. We have the college department and the high school department, and also Good Shepherd High School, which is in Butuan. Ladies and gentlemen, here, Dr. Marvin Cadornigara.
Welcome.
Welcome. It's your turn.
Handog Pasasalamat for Ma'am Judy and for Tita Chit and Tita Josie. I'm also grateful to all the teachers and school heads of Central Philippine University, the Central Philippine Nazarene College, Iloilo City National High School, and the Good Shepherd Christian Academy. It is an honor and a great privilege to share my experience as a teacher with all of you, and I'm inviting you all to embrace with an open mind and an eager heart the challenges of the new normal, which can either be blended learning or remote learning.
Yeah.
So our webinar today and tonight is titled Embracing the Challenges of Remote Learning with the 21st Century Learning Design.
Mhm.
In the early part of 2020, I have seen how my home country was hit by the pandemic and the school system was caught by surprise. And it was a difficult situation as I looked at the struggles and the challenges of both teachers and students in the Philippines, even while I was also personally struggling along with my students in this other part of the world. Now, yes, our education has to continue. And the education of both the heart and the mind of the youngsters need to be upheld, supported, and given utmost importance. So here we are now in the new normal of schooling. So first of all, let's look at let's describe what is the new normal now. So now students are learning even when they are away from school.
Mhm.
Students may at some point return to school building to learn. And now and whenever they're inside the school building, students need to wear masks. The problem of mask wearing among school children, though, is that they love the mask of their classmates, so they trade masks. So when mommy provided little Tommy with a Superman mask, little Tommy returned home with a SpongeBob mask. And now social distancing needs to be imposed just how it is imposed in the New York City Department of Education schools, where students cannot sit next to each other closer than 3 feet. Yet students were jam-packed in the public bus on their way to school. And then they impose social distancing in the classroom. Now, digital technology is necessary for learning. And now, since digital technology is necessary for learning, students need to learn digital literacy and responsible citizenship as well. So that's our new normal right now. So I have known since 2010 that this change will be coming when I had the opportunity to immerse myself in the 21st century learning scenario. So at present, teachers and students are posed with situational terms such as remote learning or blended learning. And I'm sure some of us have heard about flipped learning as well. I wish to provide perspective about each of these modalities in the new normal. What is remote learning? Remote learning occurs when students and their instructors are in two different locations. It usually involves a digital device and the internet, and the learning can be either synchronous or asynchronous. In remote learning, students and teachers do not see each other face-to-face at all. And although they can work on the same learning task in the same virtual space, at the same time, they can also be working on the same learning task at different times in the same virtual space. Blended learning, on the other hand, occurs when students and teachers meet during the traditional face-to-face instruction at certain times of the week. And they meet remotely and virtually, either synchronously or asynchronously at other times. The beauty of blended learning is that while teachers continue to facilitate learning, students learn with some elements of control over their time, the place to learn, the path to learn. For example, they can learn through modules or videos or textbooks or radio programs or podcasts. And they have the control also over the pace of their own learning. So to summarize the difference between remote learning and blended learning, we can say that remote learning is away from the school building at all times, and learning is focused towards and blended learning, on the other hand, is learning away from the school building at some times and learning inside the brick and mortar school building at some other times. Some of us may have heard of flipped learning, and where teachers apply the mindset of a flipped learning or flipped classroom. In flipped learning, the learning process is directed away from the teacher, and learning is focused now towards the students in their own learning. And one can observe that in a flipped learning, students independently learn the materials at home. Then they bring their learning into the classroom. Since it is the opposite of the traditional learning in the classroom, it is called flipped learning because the direction of learning is switched. The chart summarizes the differences between flipped learning and traditional learning. Notice that in flipped learning, the students learn at home the instructional materials provided with the teacher, such as videos and podcasts and textbooks, websites, among many others. Then students bring their learning to the classroom. As they share their own learning with their classmates, they achieve a deeper understanding of the concepts. The teacher is still there to provide guidance and support. We can notice that this practice is opposite the traditional learning, where the teacher teaches in the classroom and the students take down notes, then follow instruction and answer assessments. Then the students complete their homework at home. The next concept of learning in the new normal that I wish to share is the practice of synchronous learning or asynchronous learning. What's the difference between the two? What is synchronous learning? Synchronous learning happens when the teacher and the students participate in online learning activities at the same time. Every single student stays at home. The teacher stays either at home or in school. They log in the same time in their virtual classroom and they work on the same task at the same time, even when they are away from each other. So synchronous online learning means that students are required to log in and participate in class at a specific time of the week. There is a live instruction component occurring at the set time. Say that the schedule is 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So everyone, students and teachers, log into the virtual classroom at that time. Teachers facilitating learning and students engaging in discussion and activities. So that is synchronous learning. It means at the same time. Asynchronous learning, on the other hand, happens when teachers and students learn the same material, but at different times. Asynchronous online learning allows students to view instructional materials each week at any time they choose and does not include a live video lecture component. The more important thing is students should complete the task at an assigned schedule. And they can finish it either in the morning or in noontime or in the evening. You can complete it during the week or during the weekend, as long as they meet the deadline. This Venn diagram shows the similarities and differences between synchronous and asynchronous learning. Notice that they are similar in the sense that classes are conducted away from school, away from the school building. They are similar because students are in constant communication with the teacher and are in collaboration with each other. The differences are particularly in the timing and the timing of the work assigned task and the virtual space. So those are the two differences. I know that schooling in the Philippines is still remote at the moment, and students in the US, particularly in New York City, have already returned to the classroom in September for a face-to-face classroom instruction. So with remote learning and blended learning, the Philippines needs to prepare our students for the 21st century skills, which are skills necessary for education, business, and enterprise of the 21st century. If we are not going to prepare our students for these skills, which were identified as skills for the 21st century, we may not be able to produce competitive citizens in the future. As how we say it in Hiligaynon, mabilin kagid sa tabtaban. So we are working on towards equipping our students with these necessary skills. So the 21st Century Learning Design was a project sponsored by the Microsoft Partners in Learning. And there were rubrics developed and tested to measure the level of skills that students need to learn in the present century. So the 21st Century Learning Design identifies 6 important skills for the 21st century. And we're going to identify each of these, and we're going to respond to the challenges of these skills. And we hope to find ways by which we can provide students with the learning opportunities by which they can address, or we can allow them to respond to these challenges. The first one is collaboration. The second skill is knowledge construction. The third is self-regulation. The fourth is real-world problem solving and innovation. Fifth is the use of information and communication technology for learning. And the last one is skilled communication. So these are the 6 important skills for the 21st century, which were actually identified by a group of researchers, which compose the Microsoft Partners for Innovation, our Partners in Learning, and they interviewed and they surveyed businesses, education, institutions, and the business world, in the corporate world, and asked them what are the 21st century skills that are necessary for the future citizens. So here, how can we teach now our students with these skills that are required for the 21st century, even when we are in the new normal? How can students collaborate when they are learning remotely? How can students construct their own knowledge? How can students regulate their own learning? How can students solve and innovate the real world problems? How do students maximize the use of ICTs for learning? And how can students develop skilled communication? I may not have all the answers to these questions, but I wish to provide suggestions on how to respond to the challenges of the new normal as we allow ourselves to be guided by the 21st century learning design. The suggestions that I am sharing today are the products of my innovations in the classroom and my experiences with flipped learning and the use of digital technology, not to replace learning, but to support learning instead. So first of all, let us build up our students' learning portfolios. Next, we can create a borderless learning management system. Third, we can challenge our students' creativity and communication with the use of ICTs. Let us utilize online resources for students' collaboration. Then we develop an effective assessment system in our classroom. And lastly, we tap on students' innate and natural innovation and problem-solving skills. In remote and blended learning, and even during face-to-face schooling, we can teach students to build their digital portfolios. A digital portfolio is a collection of students' academic assignments, projects, revisions of their work, as well as work samples as documented and captured using a digital device. These devices can be a desktop computer, a laptop, a tablet, an iPad or smartphone, or an Android phone that can work with the internet. Therefore, you can also call these digital portfolios as our students' digital backpacks. Examples of platforms for students' digital portfolio are Google Workspace, which I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with and are using Google Workspace, Microsoft Office 365, and OneDrive, as well as Dropbox and Evernote. These are just examples of digital portfolio platforms for our students. A digital portfolio stores and manages the teaching and learning materials of both teachers and students in the cloud. So there is no need to save it. There's no need to access it on a particular computer, because we can open and access it anywhere we are and whatever device we have available, as long as it's connected to the internet. When schools employ a digital portfolio, everyone can share, collaborate, and engage in one or more documents, activities, or projects, endeavors, or collective efforts in real time, even when they are distant from each other. The next capability we can provide our students is a borderless learning management system. A learning management system is a web-based application that allows educational institutions to manage all aspects of the digital learning process. This is actually the professional term for what we usually know as our virtual classroom. It is simply our virtual classroom, I should say. It is borderless because it is not bound by space. It is not bound by time. Meaning to say, our virtual classroom is open 24/7, and students can enter the virtual classroom anytime and anywhere and through any electronic device. A few examples of platforms for schools' learning management system are Schoology, Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom, Edmodo, Moodle, and EduFlow. And there are a lot more. A learning management system facilitates student-teacher and student-to-student engagement and collaboration, as well as access to and assessments of learning materials. With a learning management system, teachers can gather students in one online classroom where collaboration and engagement, access to learning materials and assessments can be done even when teachers and students are distant from each other. And a learning management system can invite supervisors, head teachers, team teachers, every single staff in school to join the online classroom so they can contribute to provide the learning and support to learning to students in remote or blended learning. And not only the students can communicate in learning with each other and collaborate with each other in the learning management system, parents can also be invited to join the virtual classroom. If you are interested, I have a particular penchant for Google tools, simply because our school is using Google's Workspace. And I'm sure that a lot of you are already using Google Classroom. I just want to share that I have a YouTube channel where I share all the tutorials for incorporating technology into our classroom. And one of these is a tutorial video on how to create and how to be familiar with your Google Classroom with your computer. And if you are interested, you can subscribe so that you will be notified whenever there are new tutorial videos that you can use. The third suggestion I wish to share is for us to challenge our students' creativity and communication with ICTs. ICTs are actually information and communication technologies. They are hardwares and softwares or applications that facilitate users' access to and retrieval, processing, and communication of information. So information is not far off from students, but students are able to access, to retrieve, to process, and to save information and use this information for learning. That's why we have these information and communication technologies, or ICTs, which are useful in support to our student learning. Examples of hardwares that can be useful as ICTs are, of course, our desktop computers, our laptop computer, our tablets, our iPads, our tablets, our digital cameras, even our smartphones or Android devices. They are all hardwares because the name itself suggests that we can handle them And because they're hardwares, they are breakable as well. Examples of softwares or applications. Softwares are called applications as well. They're called softwares because we cannot, in a way, handle them. They are actually programs, computer programs. Examples are Google Chrome. We have Safari, the various apps that you can find in the Apple Store, the various apps that you can find in Google Play Store. You have your mapping tools, your video editing tools, your word processors, your spreadsheets, and even your presentations. We can use these tools to challenge our students' creativity and communication skills. I can actually share examples of my students' outputs and projects that challenge their creativity and communication using different ICTs available for them. The first example is okay, we're not gonna finish that, but that first example was a stop animation project of a sixth grade student, my sixth grade student, who demonstrated his learning on the topic of waste disposal and recycling. I have another project presented by my sixth grade students when they are asked to survey the biotic and abiotic factors of a chosen microsystem. So his project was his own aquarium at home. He used Google Slides to identify, label the factors, and a camera to capture the micro ecosystem. This project was done at home. So it was done by a sixth grade student of mine. The next project is the building small things. Oh, I'm sorry. The other project is similar to the first one, where students are use their camera and Google Slides to collaboratively create their project. They created a model of the cell using canvas. And then they identified and labeled the different parts of the cell. So the technology they use is Google Classroom, Google Slides, and pictures, cameras, and then they took the picture, and then they presented the project. The next project is a collaborative project by my sixth grade students as well. There are 4 of them in the group. They are using the Little Bits kit to create. They created a flashlight, and they created a slide to incorporate the pictures as well as the description of how they created the video. They also recorded the video of their finished product, although that right now the created video is no longer available. But on this project, the students collaborated on this creation, and they explained as well the science principles behind the finished product, and they wrote a short reflection in the project making process and their expression and their experiences when they created that. The other way we can support students' 21st century skills during the new normal is through our utilization of online resources for students' collaboration. There's thousands of online resources for students to work on. And the Microsoft 21st Century Learning Design identifies the following dimensions of collaboration. We can see students are collaborating when they're working in groups or pairs, when they share responsibility, when they make substantial decisions together, and they are being codependent on one another. I have examples of students' collaborative project using online resources. The first one is a collaboration. They're writing the laboratory report. Since we are in the city and we are far from the Long Island Sound, so the Long Island Sound provides water quality data for students. And so we use actually the My Sound website, which was maintained by the University of Connecticut. So students are collecting real-time data on water quality parameters. And so they created the laboratory report through Google Docs, and they used the research tools. They also incorporated the pictures of the website as well as the pictures of the analog recorders. And so they also have inserted the result in a Google spreadsheet. The other project is, of course, going back to the Little Bits, and this time it's still a collaborative project with my 6th grade students, and this time there is an available video here. So they created, this is a windmill that they created. So they incorporated pictures in there and labels, and they also captured their project on a video.
Okay, so this is project number 7 called Lil Breezy from the Little Bits project.
It is a miniature model of a windmill. This is the power source. It's a battery, and then the power travels through here to the dimmer, which goes through the wire into the DC.
Okay, so we're not gonna watch the whole thing. And the other project is a climate change knowledge portal. This is another example of collaborative project that investigated the climate change status of a country by utilizing the scientific data gathered from a cyber database, which we call Climate Change Knowledge Portal. And students presented the results of their the scientific data that they gathered. They collected the average temperature and rainfall of the country of their choice. And this project, they chose India, and they chose also a particular number of years for them to analyze the relationship of rainfall and temperature. And the last project is the use of a cyber database called the tthe, where students are allowed to gather data to prove whether or not Anna Anderson is the real Anastasia Romanov, the princess of the Romanov family, the last Romanov that fell before the Bolshevik captured Russia. And so what they did was to compare the bones as well as the mitochondrial DNA of the Romanov relative with Anna Anderson. And so finally they made a conclusion that Anna Anderson was a fraud and she was not the real Anastasia Romanov. So they gathered these information and evidence from a cyber database, the tthe. Number 5, we can also develop an effective assessment system. And one of the challenges that teachers face during the blended learning is establishing an effective measure of students' performance and assessment of skills, because we cannot see them in class. So assessment is defined as a variety of methods or tools that educators use to evaluate and document the academic readiness and learning progress of students. I have two important tools, useful tools for assessment. The first is Google Forms, which can collect assessment data and test scores of students. Google Forms is an online app that allows teachers to create online survey. Teachers also can create quizzes, and it's a self-grading quiz. So you provide the answer key, students answer the quiz, and then students get the the quiz score right away, and then you can see the correct or wrong answers of students. Another assessment tool that is very, very powerful is Edpuzzle. And by the way, I am an Edpuzzle certified teacher. So if you are interested with Edpuzzle, I can conduct a separate professional development training on the use of Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is a self-paced learning platform for students' assessment. And students can watch lesson videos and they answer assessment questions for comprehension and application. The good thing about Edpuzzle is you can create your own video. Then you can create questions for the video. You can check if your students are watching or have watched your video. With Edpuzzle, you can check how many times they watched each section. You can check the part of the lesson video that was watched. And you can check how much time students spent in watching the video and answering the question. Another fun way to assess students' learning is Kahoot, and I'm sure some of you heard about Kahoot. My ENL students love Kahoot because it's a game-based assessment, and they can play as a class, and they can see the results in real time. You can use available quizzes in Kahoot, but you can also create your own quizzes in class games. The other one is Quizzes, which is another platform for gamified quizzes and interactive lessons to engage students in learning while you assess their learning away from school. Finally, we can tap on students' innovation and problem-solving skills. And innovation in education encourages teachers and students to explore, to research, and use the tools to uncover something new. Here are examples of students' projects that challenge the innovation and problem-solving skills. Explore a Vision, sponsored by Toshiba and the National Science Teachers Association, allows students to create an innovation of an existing technology. And students are working on a technology that they want to happen or to be made available in the next 20 years. Another project students can have innovation and problem-solving skills is the Student Space Flight Experiment Program to the International Space Station, where our students, sixth grade students, were able to create research proposals for projects and researches that can be conducted by astronauts aboard the International Space Station. And for a few years, we were able to send projects up on the International Space Station. And when astronauts return, the mission returns to Earth, they provide us the results of the researches that were proposed by our students. The Future City competition also is a competition where students design a city. They act as the mayor, the administrator, and they solve the problem of a city in Sim City. I'm sure you heard about, and our students heard about Sim City. The Future City competition uses the Sim City and challenges students to create their own city and provide and solve the problems, either financial, economic, or environmental problems. So these are the suggestions that I can share with my colleagues when I applied my flipped learning since 2013. It is hoped that you can glean from these insights and evaluate which one can be applied in your classes. You can try one or two strategies. It is also my desire for each of us to reflect on our increasing passion for teaching and our penchant for excellence in terms of our students' capacity and challenges at home during remote learning. Please take a moment to reflect on this compelling reality of remote learning in our country. Okay, thank you very much for listening, and it is with great hope that you have learned from this presentation. If you have any question in the future, do not hesitate to email me. You can email me through my Gmail. You can email me through my Yahoo email address, also from my Outlook email, which is my official school email. I am inviting you to visit my professional website, Scenes and Senses. It has all the 44 workshop presentations that I conducted for teachers since 2010. Access it through tinyurl.com/scenes and senses. You are free to use all the materials that you can find in my professional website. Also, I want you to check out my YouTube channel, which I introduced to you earlier, the new Ilonggo Scientifico. If you have not done so, please subscribe by clicking the red subscribe button. You will be notified if a new instructional video is available. I am not getting any money from my channel. That's why you're going to enjoy all my videos, which are never interrupted by advertisements.
Wow.
And I am also presenting my research textbook, and it was published in 2002 and was reprinted in 2018. Please let me know if you're interested in purchasing copies of my textbook. Thank you once again. Thanks to everyone, my colleague in the Philippines, and thank you, Teacher Voice, for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, guys. I hope you enjoyed also. And this 500 each for you guys. It's just only to say thank you very much. Okay, so I want to call Tita Pasit and Tita Josie for our last words to these teachers.
Let me go first. Okay, teachers and educators, mga kababayan ko, thank you so much for what you're doing and what you do for the children of the Philippines. And for nation building, yung contribution ninyo is really, really much. Congratulations and mabuhay kayo.
Yay! Tita Pasit. Oh, if for everyone, okay, ito si Tita Josie na tayo. Tita Josie is the mother of Joe Coy. If you know Joe Coy, Joe Coy is the very well-known comedian here in America and even there in the Philippines. So, Tita Josie, where are you?
I am here. First of
look
all,
at the beauty of Tita Josie.
First of all, I would like to thank everyone for attending this particular program, and more power to Mr. Marvin
Cadornigara.
Oh my goodness, your presentation is well prepared, and you are right on time. You gave us enough time to do all of this drawing. Unbelievable. But anyways, congratulations to all, and anyone who comes to Vegas, please.
Meron na tayong puntahan.
May host na tayo sa Vegas.
Ano masabi nyo? But Sir Marvin, I just want to ask you, with regards to what you mentioned a while ago about the puzzle, that you are even willing also to have another series of this. This is wonderful, guys, that we will know how to do some techniques of puzzling here, right? So maybe if you are, I will talk with your principal and your contact person in there. We can have it another time.
We'll schedule Marvin. Yeah, we'll schedule.
Yes, we will. The same audience also.
Oh,
right?
Sure.
Sir Marvin, you want to have a word for our last, your message?
Your last word, yeah.
Salamat again to Ma'am Jude, to Tita Chet and Tita Josie, and thank you for including me always in your presentation. And it is always my joy to be sharing my experiences as a teacher here. Don't ever think that it is always it's always snow and starlights in here. We have our own struggles, but nevertheless, the Lord has provided us with a wonderful opportunity to grow in a foreign country, and we want to share whatever experiences that we have and our victories that we have inside the classroom. And I shared my email. You can have you can connect. I have friends in CPU. Connect with Miss Romarate, or for a Good Shepherd's Fold, connect with Mrs. Brasalino. For Iloilo City High School, Miss Hapa. And I have a lot of friends in there. And also sa Rainbow of Angels, Ma'am Rosaline, you can always email me if ever you need my help. I would extend my help. And I'm looking forward to another webinar with Teacher Voice. Give me the schedule and give me the time. I will be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, Sir Johan, thank you very much for this opportunity that you have given to us. Thank you. Salamat sa PHLV. Sir Johan, just don't immediately cut me off first, okay? Because I'm going to take a picture of the attendance for this 100 people in our attendance. So I am going to take a picture of this. Okay? Sir Johan, don't leave me here first. Okay. Thank you, guys. And then we are very happy again.
Thank you very
You
much.
are here with us.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you.